Hey guys, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 3. So I know you guys have been excited about this video. It's my long-awaited Q&A video. I've received so many messages of you guys. Thank you so much asking me questions. And actually I think I'm gonna do like 2 parts of this video. I'm gonna do part 1 today, and then there will be another part 2 another day for Vlogmas this year, because it's just there's so many questions. I am in San Francisco right now on a layover, and I kind of have to edit this today as well. So if I decide to make like a 40-minute long video, it's not gonna happen. So that's why there's gonna be a part 1 today, and there's gonna be a part 2 maybe next week. Probably next week. So I'd say let's get right into it. For those of you who don't know me, because I have gotten a lot of new subscribers lately, thank you so much if you just decided to subscribe to me recently for this Vlogmas. My name is Verena. I am a flight attendant and I live in Austria and work in Germany. So I'm German based in Munich. So without further ado, let's start with the Q&A. So I just wrote everything down here on my laptop, and I'm just gonna read out the questions and then answer them for you. So for today, I think we're gonna do 11 questions, and then for the Q&A part 2, we're gonna do the rest of the questions. So let's start with question number 1. For how long have you been a flight attendant? I have been a flight attendant for pretty much exactly 3 years. So in August 2016, I started flight attendant training. The training for my airline took about 3 months, and my first flight was in October 2016, and I graduated flight attendant training in November 2016. So yeah, pretty much 3 years. Okay, then let's continue with question number 2. Do you have to be fluent in another language if you want to become an international flight attendant? For those of you who don't know, I do mainly international trips, like transatlantic trips, trips to Asia, stuff like that. I do short haul trips within Europe now and then. I used to do them a lot, but recently it's just been more long haul because I am certified to work on the A380, which is why my airline also wants me to do more long haul flights, because the A380 mainly goes to places like Asia or the US. Do you have to be fluent in another language? It depends. It'll always depend on the airline. My airline requires all of us flight attendants to be fluent in German and English, which is why I have to speak English. I mean, at work mainly we speak German. If it's a trip to Asia where we have regional flight attendants who don't speak German, they have to speak their mother tongue in English, obviously. Then we speak English on a plane. So then the main language will switch to English, but usually it's German. So like I said, for my airline, German and English is required if you apply as a flight attendant, but for other airlines it might be different. I know for a few airlines you only need to speak English, so just check their website when you apply to an airline. Make sure that you speak the languages that are required, and it will usually tell you what level of proficiency you need in that certain language. So I know a lot of international airlines only require English, but like I said, for my airline, English and German is required. It is a German airline after all. So yeah, it depends. I hope that answered your question, and yeah, I'm not sure if that makes you feel better or not. If you wanted to apply to my airline, like I said, you have to speak German and English. Now let's continue with question number 3. How many languages do you speak, and can you say holiday greeting in those languages? That is an interesting question, because we just talked about languages. Well, I'm fluent in 2 languages. That's German and English. So German is my mother tongue, so it's the first language I ever studied, and then I started studying English when I was 10 years old. So those 2 languages I'd say I'm pretty proficient in. Like, yeah, you guys can see that or hear that, right? Because I am speaking English right now. And I do speak 2 other languages a bit. I'm in no way fluent in those languages, so I can understand quite a bit. Well, when I read it, I can understand it, I can write in those languages, but when someone speaks very quickly, I have really no idea what they're saying, and I would in no way consider myself a proficient speaker in those languages. Like, I speak them at a basic level. I can do like small talk, like asking someone how they are, telling them where to go if they ask me where, let's say, the restroom is at or something. That's fine. But like I said, I'm in no way fluent in those languages, and that's Spanish and Russian. So can I do a holiday greeting in all 4 of those languages? I think I can. Okay, so English, Merry Christmas, German, Frohe Weihnachten, Spanish, Feliz Navidad, and Russian Zdrashtestvan. So that's 4 languages. If I didn't get the pronunciation spot on, I'm sorry, that's the best I could have done right now. I am trying to improve my Spanish at the moment, so I hope in the future at like some point in my life I can say that I am fluent in this language, and I'm trying to improve my Spanish first and then improve my Russian once my Spanish is at a pretty good level. So I used to be not that bad at those languages, but like my Spanish, I studied in high school. So I haven't used my Spanish in like 8 years, so I'm pretty rusty when it comes to Spanish. And for Russian, I took a couple of Russian classes at university, but I haven't used my Russian in, how long, like 5 years maybe? So you guys can guess. And it's a hard language, so it's hard to learn, like the grammar and stuff and the vocabs. It's just, and you have to like write in the Cyrillic language, which is a whole different language, you know. I can still write it, I can still read it. It's just like I forget a lot of vocabs. So yeah, let's move on with question number 4. Do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? Is there anything else you would love to do one day? So I figure you're talking about my flight attendant life. Do I see myself as a flight attendant for the rest of my life? Probably not, but I can see myself as cabin crew for the rest of my life. Now, this might sound confusing, but the thing is, I don't think I could ever see myself being a flight attendant for the rest of my life. Like, I love my job, don't get me wrong, but at some point in my life, I would definitely like more responsibility. So I think I could see myself as cabin crew for the rest of my life, but not as a flight attendant, but maybe as a purser. So the purser is the lead flight attendant, the one who is in charge. So I know it's difficult, like difficult steps. There are certain tests that you need to take. They're pretty hard. You have to study a lot, and it's a lot about your personality as well, like how you act in certain situations, I guess, and it comes down to seniority in the end. So like I said, it's not the easiest, not everyone can become a purser, but it is something that I'm interested in the future. And for right now, my job is fine the way it is, but like I said, in the future I do want more responsibility. That's what I went to university for. I had a lot of like leadership classes at university. I was studying marketing and sales. I have a degree in marketing and sales, in case you didn't know that, and that's why I also want to include that in my career. So as a flight attendant, I don't think I could see myself being a flight attendant for the rest of my life, but as a purser or a lead flight attendant, that is definitely, yeah. Then the next question basically is the same. So it says, will being a purser be part of your future plans for your career? Like I just mentioned, absolutely. It's something I have been thinking about a lot lately, because if you guys don't know, I went through a pretty hard breakup last year, and my ex and I, we had like kids planned for this year and stuff, so I didn't think that being a purser would ever happen for me, because going to purser training, it's like, I think it's like a 2-month training course and everything, would have not worked out with that in my plans with having a family and stuff. But since my plans changed, and there's like nothing that keeps me from becoming a purser in the future right now, it's definitely something I could see myself doing in the, I don't know when, like so the near future maybe, I don't know. It'll just depend on all of those circumstances, like if I make it through the tests and if my seniority is high enough. And it's not like I am like applying right now at this second, but definitely in the future I think I will. And it will also depend whether there are open positions or not. It will just depend. I hope that answers your question, and let's move on to question number 6. Would you ever consider living in Munich, avoid that long driving commute, and better quality of life? That is an interesting question. I live in Salzburg right now, so my commute is about 2 hours each way. I am not thinking about moving to Munich anytime soon. I don't think that I'd consider it at the moment. I don't know what the future brings, but I don't really think that I'll move to Munich anytime soon. I have considered it in the past, but everything added up. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me to move to Munich. So I love Salzburg. I love living there, the scenery, the people. I have family and friends who are not that far away from where I live, which is nice. And I only have to go to the airport like 4 times a month. So it's not like I spend a lot of time in my car, because if someone is commuting every day for like half an hour or an hour to work, they spend a lot more time in the car than I do. So if you add it up, it's really not that bad. And that's why I usually do long international trips, because that means more hours for one trip and I don't have to go to the airport that often. So, wait, what else to say here? Avoiding that long driving commute. I don't really mind driving, so it's relaxing to me. I mean, if the roads are bad, it's a whole different story, but usually it's relaxing to me. And it gives me something to like calm down before a flight or after a flight. So it's not like something that I really dread. If there's a lot of traffic, yeah, it's not the best thing, obviously, but I try to go on like hinterland roads, if you want to call them that. So not like the Autobahn, but different roads that are smaller and where there's not that much traffic, and it usually gets me there quicker. Better quality of life. My personal opinion is that the quality of life would not be better in Munich. I mean, the infrastructure and stuff is great, but then again, if you live in the city of Munich, like in the city center, it'll probably take you like 45 minutes or an hour to get to the airport, which is basically commuting, because the airport in Munich is quite outside of the city. It's nowhere close to the city center, and also traffic is really bad in Munich. So for those people who are living in Munich, I think all of them can relate that like driving in Munich and parking in Munich in the city center is not fun. And the costs of living are really, really high in Munich. I think I would pay for like, yeah, probably for the place that I have, I'd probably pay twice as much in Munich. And then gas prices are higher in Munich. And okay, groceries I think are cheaper, toiletries are cheaper, so like the products you need for daily life are probably cheaper, but everything else, eating out, public transportation, gas, what else, renting, all that is so much more expensive. So by living in Salzburg, I feel like I have a better quality of life, because I have a lot of money that I can save up for the future, and that's why I don't think I would consider to move to Munich anytime soon. Okay, then question number 7. How do you do it when snowstorms come through and you have to be at work? Are the roads pretty much open, or do they ever shut down? So I have to say, we don't get a lot of like bad snowstorms, like no blizzards or anything like that. There are a lot of mountains in Austria and southern Germany, and because of that, it's not like storms or snowstorms can really like go through in like one line. So that's why we don't get super bad snowstorms. We get a lot of like heavy snowfall, yes, but it's usually not that much wind and everything combined with it. And I like driving. I don't like driving in snow. I'm not bad at driving in snow. I have like snow chains for my tires in my car at all times. We have winter tires, so we change our tires in November and in April. So from November till April we have winter tires, which make it way more easy to drive on snow. You don't slid off the road as quickly, and you just have to pay attention. You can't drive that fast if it's very snowy. I have driven like a foot of snow, that's like 30 centimeters of snow on the Autobahn before. It's not fun in no way, no, but I have never had it happen that they closed the roads, at least not the ones that I was using. And I mean, they might close one road, but then I have like 5 different ways that I can use, like 5 different roads that I can use to get to the airport. So it's not really a big problem. I do tend to leave like an hour earlier than I usually would in the wintertime when there's a lot of snow, or when they predict, like the weather forecast says, it's gonna snow pretty heavily tomorrow, then I'm just gonna leave earlier, if that makes sense. So I don't really have a huge problem with driving in snow, and like I said, the roads have never been closed when I was going to the airport. I think the weather was pretty bad last year, and the roads were pretty bad back then, and I had to shovel my car for like 2 hours at one point. So I was really being like, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of all of those people who have like a garage and my car is just like street parked. So it was like, oh man. But I mean, in Salzburg itself, I didn't live in the city center of Salzburg last winter, but I am living there now, and we don't get that much snow. So in the city center, it's quite okay, and the roads to the airport, like in southern Germany, I feel like they don't get as much snow either. It would be a different story if I was still living at home at my mom's place, because she lives like in the Alps. And yeah, I have done that once. Christmas morning to go there to the airport. Took me 5 hours once, so no, I'm not doing that again. But where I live now, it's not that bad. Okay, then question number 8. Do you happen to own a dirndl? If you guys don't know what a dirndl is, it's the traditional clothing in Austria and southern Germany. It's this like dress. It's the equivalent for women to like lederhosen. You have probably heard of lederhosen, and the dirndl is what females wear. Yes, I do own one dirndl, and we wear it for stuff like Oktoberfest or just like regional festivities, but we don't go out in a dirndl every day. There are people who wear it to church every Sunday and stuff like that, so you can wear it. No one will like look at like, oh my gosh, what are you wearing? But I don't wear it that often. I think the last time I wore mine was probably like 1.5 years ago, something like that. So I don't get a lot of air out of it, but if I need it, I have it. There are also people who get married in a dirndl and guys who get married in lederhosen, so that's like a traditional wedding over here. So I think pretty much everyone in Austria and southern Germany has a dirndl, unless they're really against tradition and those customs and ways. But I think like probably not everyone, but most people will have a dirndl, at least in the region I live in. So in like the smaller towns in Salzburg, I think most people own a dirndl. Then let's move on to question number 9. Are you allowed to wear tall boots as part of your uniform during winter time? That's an interesting question. Technically I am, yes, when I'm outside of the plane, and for boarding I can wear boots, like winter boots, like tall winter boots with all of my uniform parts, whether I'm wearing my uniform skirt, the uniform dress, or my uniform pants. But they have to be a certain kind of winter boots. There are specifics, like they have to be either real or fake leather, they have to be a dark color like black or blue. I think those are the only colors we can have them, black or blue. There are specifics about like the heel and stuff, and they can't have any accessories, so nothing like sparkly or anything like that. And I feel like it's really hard to find boots like that, and I would have to change them once I'm inside of the plane and boarding is done. And with the uniform pants, I can technically also wear them during the flight, but if I wear them during the flight, you can't see that you're wearing boots. So if you see, oh my gosh, there's like a tablet in here, it just came on. I want to turn it off. Sorry, that was weird. Anyways, if you're wearing winter boots with your uniform pants and you see like the end of the boots like below the knee, you can't have that. So then you'll have to exchange them for other shoes when you're on the plane. But if you can't see like where the boot is at, you can wear them inside of the plane. And obviously your uniform pants, they have to go over the boots. You can't put your pants inside of your boots, if that makes sense. That would just look weird. I hope that answers your question. And then moving on to question number 10. What would happen if you were late checking out of your hotel room and delayed the crew getting to the airport? Oh gosh, that would be horrible. Anyways, would you have to work the galley for the next 4 flights? Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. No, I wouldn't have to work the galley for the next 4 flights. So I have never had that happen to me. I set like 10 alarms to make sure that I never oversleep. We get a wake-up call from the hotel, so I think it's pretty much impossible to oversleep. Okay, it probably happens, but I don't think it happens so often. Sorry, I just ran out of like memory on my cameras. I had to delete a few things, so that's why the setup probably changed a little bit. Sorry. Anyways, so if I happen to oversleep or be late for checking out of the hotel and I delayed the crew, I'd probably have to go talk to the captain and the purser. They'd probably not be happy with me, and they would probably report me, and then I'd have to go talk to my boss at my base in Munich, and it would probably not be a fun talk. I think I wouldn't be fired or anything if it happened once. If you're a repeat offender and it happens all the time, then probably you would get fired at some point, because I mean, if you hold up a flight, it's very expensive for the airline that your flight will be delayed, because they need to pay a fee if your plane is at the gate and stuff. So, and if you're delayed and people miss their connection flights, it's expensive. So I would not recommend being late for checking out of your hotel. And no, I wouldn't have to work the galley for the next 4 flights. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of like working the galley position. I'm not bad at it at all. It's just I prefer being with the passengers to just being in the galley. I like it now and then, and I've actually done the galley a lot lately and I've really come to like it. But if I have the choice, I would have like a mixed position. I like that a lot, that I'll work in the galley for a bit and then be in the cabin, so that's really like a really good position. But they wouldn't make me work the galley for like 4 flights. There are a lot of people who love working the galley position. They do the galley every single flight, so it's not like it would be a punishment, you know. And it'll always come down to seniority. When you're inside of that briefing room, the person with the highest seniority can pick their position first, and the one who's all the way on the bottom of the list picks their position last. So no, I wouldn't be stuck with doing the galley for like 4 flights. And now let's continue with question number 11. That's my last question for this video. Since you have traveled all around the world, if you had to pick a place to live for the rest of your life, or when you retire or settle down, where would that be? That is a pretty tough question. Somewhere where it's warm, but not really scorching hot, but like warm. Somewhere where you have like the sea, beaches. Somewhere where you have like good infrastructure. Somewhere where I know the language of the place. And yeah, like thinking about it, I'd probably say somewhere in Australia, maybe somewhere like not a huge city. I think not like Sydney. I love Sydney, don't get me wrong, but it's not like I want to live in a super huge city for the rest of my life. So I think I'd live somewhere like right at the border of New South Wales and Queensland, and that will probably be like someplace close to Byron Bay, where you have amazing beaches. The people are really nice there, in my opinion, or at least when I was there. The people were always very friendly and welcoming to me. And it's just, I don't know if I'd be happy there for the rest of my life, but it's just, if I had to pick a place, that's one of my favorite destinations. So I'd probably say somewhere in Australia on like the East Coast. Yes, that were all of the questions for today's video. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot more questions that you guys sent me, and I didn't forget about them. There'll be a part 2, but I'm not gonna film and edit that today because I just don't have the time for it, and you guys probably want a Vlogmas Day 3 video, so I am just trying to get that up for you guys. And yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I answered the questions the way you wanted me to answer them, and I hope you learned something new about me or new about flight attendant life in general. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I really hope that my internet connection is fast enough so that I can actually upload these vlogs, because otherwise I've just filmed it for like nothing, and I really wanted you guys to have a Vlogmas Day 3 video, but I was so busy lately, so I literally couldn't have filmed it before today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon below, because otherwise YouTube is not going to notify you whenever I upload a new video. And with Vlogmas being here, and I don't know if my vlogs will be up at the same time every single day, so it's just good if you guys get that notification if you want to keep up with my vlogs and videos. And I hope you're enjoying this year's Vlogmas. If you have any more ideas for videos, let me know in the comments below. I have Vlogmas planned out pretty much, but there are still a few changes that I can make. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye.